Do you see that in many people's eyes?
I do. I see it in a lot of people. I think there's something that God put in all of us, and that's to overcome, to move forward.
Jesus Christ, you can trust him. He'll never fail.
We've seen midgets grow. We've seen arms and legs that stop growing. Mandada basata. I don't make this stuff up.
So are we going to be called away to meet the Lord? But it's not going to be 300 years. We live in right at the coming of Jesus Christ.
You're just a 10-foot-tall crybaby.
I'm crying.
It's not so bad. I mean, no, Christians aren't being killed.
No, not yet.
What the Bible says, Leviticus 20:13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with the woman, they shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. And that, my friend, is the cure for AIDS.
The notion that atheists are somehow the intelligentsia among us and so forth, I think this is just completely false.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 34 of the Age of Reason podcast. Hi Alex, we're actually together for the first time.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's nice.
It is, we don't have to worry about internet reception issues and all that shit. So, we had fun yesterday. Got drunk, had a barbecue. I have no voice left, because after you left, it got nuts. Like, I laughed way too fucking hard, and I have no voice.
Well, yeah. Yesterday was fun. We had it out yesterday, so today should be nice and peaceful.
We promised no fist fighting when we actually did this. So, but I mean, it's not that we were left without anything to talk about. So, we're gonna get in to the interview Nick had with two lesbians that he did a few weeks ago, just regarding what they think of the current political climate and gay rights, Donald Trump. He gets into all that. It's a really good interview. So we're going to be playing that at the end of this episode. But Trump has given us some topics this week. Apparently that guy cannot stay out of trouble to save his life at this point.
Yeah, he's basically beating himself up, and it's enjoyable
with his tiny hands. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah. He's definitely had a bad week, and the funny thing is most of them are self-inflicted. You pretty much got to stand back and just laugh now. But I think the first thing was when he booted the baby off.
Yeah, presidents and candidates, politicians of all kinds, they're supposed to kiss babies. That's like what you're supposed to look forward to.
And the way he did it too, it wasn't just like, hey, could you, ma'am, would you please be? He mocked her basically.
He acknowledged her at first, though, right? So he acknowledges her and says, "Oh, I love babies. Babies are fine. It's the best, beautiful baby ever," or whatever. And then, like a minute later, he goes, "I was just kidding. You need to go. You need to get the fuck out." Yeah, I was joking.
That whole baby shit. I didn't mean it. Get that baby out of here.
They're supposed to be kissing babies. What the hell?
And the crazy thing that I saw from reporters that were there is that the crowd was really applauding him as he was kicking out the baby. Like, they were, that's how...
I hate to say this, but I think my wife would have been one of those people. I hate to say that, but here's why. Like, anytime Lindsay and I walk into a restaurant, if the waitress tries to seat us if there's a high chair present at any table around us, she's like, "Can we please not sit next to the screaming child?" So, like, my wife would definitely be one of those people that would have probably cheered as the baby got thrown out. But we need to stop kicking out babies. It's got to stop. Oh man. I don't know how he recovers from these things. I really don't.
So let's see. It was that one. The next thing is the veteran who gave him his Purple Heart, which the veteran obviously deserved it. For some reason, he decided to give it to the Donald, and instead of him taking it home and cherishing it or something, he bragged about it and said, "Oh, I always wanted one of these. Oh, that was pretty easy," and that's completely ignoring the sacrifice that these men and women take to earn them, which it is the highest decoration you can get. So it's just...
Well, I mean, it's for injury.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Medal of Honor would be, that would be the highest decoration. I mean, like with Purple Hearts, when you say like about a Medal of Honor or a Medal of Valor, like those sorts of things, you could say I've always wanted one of these because I mean I'd have to do something heroic, I'd have to do something great and something nobody else has done before and overcome tremendous odds in the face of danger. To say I want a Purple Heart is like saying, damn it, all those years in Iraq, I wish I would have stepped on a landmine. I spent 2 tours in Iraq and all I got was this fucking shirt. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you say you want a Purple Heart?
And this is from the guy who dodged the draft, you know, because he had
bone spurs
while he was on the lacrosse team. Or
he had
whatever.
purple feet before he went into or orange skin purple feet before he before he was able to be drafted. It's just, you insulted all POWs with his comments to McCain, and then you say you always wanted a Purple Heart. This man has no clue what he's talking about. I don't think he knows what a Purple Heart is, which really sucks because that Purple Heart, I'm sure, meant something to the guy that gave it away.
Yeah, exactly.
And Trump doesn't even know what the fuck it is. Because if he really didn't know what it was, I mean, I'm kind of speculating, but if he really didn't know what it was, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say, I always wanted one of these. Like it's another model or another wife. Like, you wouldn't say that.
I think, I mean, when you're rich and you have the life that he has, I think for him it is something that he's probably just going to throw in his collection case and put it right under a picture so people walking in 20 years from now might think, oh, this guy is a Purple Heart recipient.
You think he's going to put his name on it? Have his name engraved on the Purple Heart? But speaking of his insult to POWs with John McCain, I'm really, aside from everything else, I'm really enjoying watching the Republican Party just collapse on itself. So he refused to endorse McCain for his re-election in Arizona and Paul Ryan for Wisconsin, and now he's come out and done it. But prior to yesterday, prior to him doing that, there was like a week. These guys, not McCain, but Paul Ryan endorsed Trump a month or so ago. I mean, and then Trump just is like, hey, fuck you. Like, I didn't want anything to do with this.
Not only did he not endorse him, but he said, right? He said, when you say you're not going to endorse somebody, that's worse than just being quiet on the issue and not saying anything. He publicly said he wasn't going to endorse him.
And there's 2 Trump-inspired people that are running against them in those states. So John McCain is running up against somebody that was inspired by Trump, and so is Paul Ryan in his state. I mean, it's so awesome to watch these guys fuck each other over. It's nice to see them get a taste of their own medicine. And honestly, for Paul Ryan and McCain to get a taste of what they created, because they created Donald Trump. They gave him a voice when he was doing the whole birther deal and all of his attacks on Obama. They let him come on all these shows like Fox News and all this shit, and they created this monster, and now they're having to deal with it. Hopefully, we all don't have to deal with it, but the next thing that he said was that he wants to give churches more power, that they need to have more say in our government, and they need to be able to do it without losing their tax-exempt status.
Yeah, I saw his little speech about that, and it's funny because right before that I saw him talking about freedom of speech. I forgot exactly what it was, but he was saying, oh, we need, freedom of speech for everybody. That's what I believe in. And then right after the next line, he was talking about churches need to be able to exercise their right to give people voting advice from the pulpit, which is against the Constitution, because they get tax exemption. And if they want to take the tax exemption back, I'm all for it. But right now, I help pay them. Everybody else helps pay them, regardless of what religion you are. So I think that's.
Do you think that would be worth it? Like, obviously we would have to, because that's the only thing that we have. So if churches did give up their tax exempt status, then we wouldn't have to say anything. But would you actually prefer it the other way around?
I think there'd be a lot less churches.
There would definitely be a lot less churches.
So I think.
But then again, they do now. I mean, you run the risk of the Orthodox Church in Russia because Trump does sound like one of those people that thinks, especially Mike Pence, that religion needs to be our moral compass. So if we were to do that, yeah, you're right. There would be less churches because they wouldn't be able to keep the lights on, and they wouldn't be able to stain the glass and all that shit. But then these higher up ones like Olstein and Ted Haggard before he got caught with the fucking prostitute and used to pray with George Bush. Before all that, those guys will be able to likely influence the Supreme Court and our laws and that sort of thing. I'm not sure which way I'd rather have it. I mean, I would much rather they still paid their fucking share of taxes.
I honestly think that it's happening right now. It's not maybe the blatant, and I think in some churches it might even be blatant, but there has been recordings coming out of pastors telling people who to vote for. I think it's going on kind of already. So to me, I think the way churches operate, they need to pay at least some taxes. So I've always been a fan of taxing the churches. I think,
tax that ass.
Speaking of taxing that ass, Donald Trump signed a pledge that says he's going to ban porn as president.
I did not see this. Are you serious?
I'm going to find the pledge. There's a group.
Wasn't his wife a porn star? Didn't she pose for Playboy or pose nude? While not under a visa, by the way?
Yeah, that's the other part that we got to talk about, which we'll talk about. But first, yes, Donald Trump promises to ban porn if elected. And there's an anti-porn group. It's called Enough is Enough. And they actually released a press statement
I can't wait for this.
announcing that Donald Trump pledged to ban porn if elected. I think he's the only one of the Republican candidates that signed it.
Oh my God.
But yeah. So if you don't have any other reason to not vote for Donald Trump, he's going to ban porn. So.
A while back, I don't remember what we were talking about, but a while back, there was like, oh wait, hold on. It was Ted Cruz tried to pass an anti-masturbation.
The dildo.
The dildos and the masturbation. And I remember saying, I hope they try this because I think no matter how hard you try, you can never fully relate to a group of people that you are not actually a part of. Like, as much as I support Black Lives Matter, I'm not a Black Life. I can't relate to it 100%. Same thing with women. And I'm hoping that they come out with something like this and really try to pass it, so then men would actually get involved in these things, because this is related to contraception with healthcare. This is related to funding Planned Parenthood. This is related to all the shit that women are going through, and we need to attack men right at the dick. They need to be. We need to be punched in the dick in order for every one of us to get on board. That's what it's going to take. Like, for instance, so when you were over last night, we were talking with my cousin, and the three of us grew up together. We all know each other really well, but what I don't understand is his older brother, highly into politics, huge Bernie Sanders supporter, very liberal. His parents, very involved in politics. This guy wants nothing to do with it. And I think, last night he was talking about how he just wants to live his life and be left alone. And I said, sure, but if Trump gets elected, your minimum wage is going away, and he's diabetic, so he depends on medicine and healthcare to live. And if healthcare gets privatized and all that other shit, they can skyrocket the prices. And I said, no, you won't care until it comes knocking at your door. So we really need to start punching people in the dick, I guess is what I'm saying.
That is not my strategy. I just want to make that clear. But speaking, of things that Trump wants to ban that are constitutionally not possible, he also wants to change the First Amendment. He thinks we should have libel laws like they have in England, where you can, because of what you say, if it hurts their feelings, you can sue somebody. I think one of the greatest things that this country has is freedom of speech. Even if I don't agree with what you say, you should be able to say it. And the Donald here just doesn't agree with that. if you hurt his feelings, he wants to be able to sue you. And this is coming from a man who's very, very rich. So
Very, very rich.
So
3,500 lawsuits in the last 30 years he's been involved in, whether being sued or suing others. 3,500 in 3 years. Or in 30 years.
I mean, you know, Bill Maher is one of the more ridiculous ones, but he literally sued him because he said his father was an orangutan.
But Bill Maher, I believe, will say that it was worth every penny because he had to pay him out $1 million.
No, he didn't pay him out.
Yeah, he lost.
No.
He lost.
No.
Yes, he lost.
We'll have to look it up, but I don't think so.
Bill Maher lost, but
Okay,
what Bill
we'll
Maher,
look at- I'll fact check as we
Bill
go.
Maher, what Bill Maher got out of that is Bill Maher actually made him prove that he wasn't the son of an orangutan.
Yeah,
That was actually on the floor.
Yeah, but he definitely, they produced evidence that he wasn't. But I'm gonna have to look it up because because of the freedom of speech laws, you can't. Let me look.
Maybe it was settled out of court afterwards, but I know there was a part where, because I remember I've watched interviews about this, and I remember Bill Maher stating that he had to fucking prove that he wasn't actually the son of a fucking orangutan.
No, see, he has confirmed that Donald Trump has dropped the lawsuit.
Then dude, I'm telling you though,
No, he
then it
didn't
was
pay
settled
him.
out.
Because no, as a comedian, if Bill Maher sets a
No,
precedent
I
by paying
understand.
people for that, no, he didn't pay.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, moving on. Mike Pence. Or no, let's not go to Mike Pence. Clint Eastwood.
Oh, that motherfucker.
Yeah, right. So this pussy generation needs to get over the fact that Trump is racist, because things were okay to be said, like, you know, things that Trump says nowadays were okay when he was growing up, and they should be okay now. We need to get over the racism and his rhetoric.
A couple things. Everything he said there is wrong, but the two things that stand out the most to me is when he said the things that he say now that are considered racist weren't racist back then. That's because you were a majority and there was nobody to complain.
Exactly.
You hung them. And they complained.
1950, or drug him behind a fucking truck.
I mean, let's be realistic here. When he said it like that, it's not. He said it perfectly. He didn't say, you know, you guys are making things up that aren't racist. He said the things that you guys are saying that are racist now weren't racist when I was a kid, 30, 40, actually for that guy, 50 years ago, you know what I mean? Of course not. Things were a lot different.
It's kind of shocking. I mean, the fact that, you know, when you watch Gran Torino, he was just playing himself.
Yeah.
What are you spooks doing? Like, spooks? That's a 1950s racial slur.
Yeah, exactly.
No, who uses that now?
And then the second part, you know, the generation of pussies, you know, I'll go up against him in his freaking better days. What, you know, it's just not.
You're an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not actually Dirty Harry. You didn't actually do all those things that you were filmed doing in all your fucking westerns. Stop acting like a badass. Oh my God! I mean, I'll give it to him. Clint Eastwood is a
good
badass
actor.
when it comes to the movies that he's acted in, but he's actually acting like this is actually his shit. He actually went around San Francisco chasing a serial killer. No,
I missed that.
that's Dirty Harry.
But
Dirty Harry's
I thought you were saying he actually did.
No, I missed it too if that's the case. But no, in the movie Dirty Harry, it's a
Yeah.
serial killer in San Francisco, and he's actually acting like this is his shit.
Yeah, and this is the man that spoke to a chair for 15 minutes. Anytime anybody ever tries to use a meme of him that, you know, where he says something about Obama or whatever, that's the first thing I said. All I'll say is, you know, watch the speech he gives to a chair.
Yeah, exactly.
And tell me this guy has half a brain cell left.
Well, speaking of brain cells, so with Mike Pence, Mike Pence wants two things. He wants creationism taught in schools now. I mean, he wants a lot of things, but as of this week, he wants creationism taught in schools, and he disproves evolution with God. This is the scary shit. And that is, I mean, you want to talk about free speech and shit. I mean, you should have, well, then again, should you have say in what your children are taught in school? Should you have
But see,
a stake in that?
This is an argument that I've had with some of my Christian friends that they want their kids to go to private school because they believe their kids should be taught like they believe, and that's fine if that's what they want. but I said I'm going to have my kids learn the truth, whether or not it agrees with what I believe. So science, that's what it is. It's the truth. If some miraculous discovery happens tomorrow or today, and they say, you know what, evolution actually is not true, we have a new theory, this is what we believe.
Like God
this is
just
our
came down
evidence.
and told us that it
No,
wasn't real.
no, not even if it's God. I mean, I'm saying if
We find scientific
in a real
disproving
scientific
evidence.
lab, right?
Right.
And says, you know, some of this is not true, or the way you thought evolution worked, we all were wrong because of this, and we've backed it up by all these tests. That's going to be what's taught in school, right? And because that's going to be, to the best of our understanding,
Right.
what's true. So I would rather have the truth taught rather than what I believe.
But it's your truth, though.
No, there's only one truth. And that's the part that they don't understand, is that they think that their belief is on the same level as people's scientific knowledge and data. They believe faith is on the same level.
Yeah, don't put your faith on the same level, on the same shelf as my facts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep that shit away.
But I mean, I think this is probably the first time, because even neither Bush did this, where they really tried to make religion take a big giant leap right back into politics, and we've never really had that. So
well, I mean, Bush was pretty religious.
not like this though.
I don't know, because Trump is not, right? Trump is not.
Right.
He's trying to get voters that are religious, but he's not as a person. George Bush on several occasions said he was going to go pray on it, or God told him this, or so. George Bush was religious.
No, but he wasn't.
And
I can't recall anything where he was trying to
the
put
only thing is the
religion
stem
back
cell.
into shit.
You know, the stem cell research.
Well, yeah, but I mean
But-
that's just Republican anti-abortion shit. But I mean, they still vote based on their beliefs. But I can't recall anything in the Bush administration where they were trying to put religion into our lives, other than the basic, abortion argument, shit like that, gay marriage. But I don't think it's ever been at this level. I mean, I think we have a larger chance of religion being involved in our daily lives and shoved down our throat than we ever have in this country's history.
And
likely.
It's interesting, as the country statistics show, the country gets less and less religious. Our leaders are more and more religious.
Right.
And they keep shoving it down the throats, like you said. So, good luck. We'll see how we go.
So what else did Trump do this last week? So he kicked out a baby. He kicked out a baby. So was there anything else about Trump that we missed? I mean, he kicked out a baby.
Yeah,
I think he kicked the baby out because the baby's hands are bigger than his.
He said, man, that's a hung baby.
It's a hung baby.
We gotta get him out of there. He's making my hands
The
look small.
baby stole my baby. The baby's gotta go. Give me my baby back.
He talked very openly about nukes this week. That was the last one, and I mean, we saved it for last. We forgot about it, but it really is the most important, because Jesus Christ, this man. Came out that in a briefing, he asked 3 times about nuclear weapons, and if we have them, why can't we use them? I mean, talking about not understanding, a part of the job or something. I mean, asking about nuclear weapons, obviously ISIS is the biggest threat that we have. Just sending a nuclear bomb to the Middle East, because that wouldn't create any more terrorists at all.
Yeah, that's not going to piss any more Muslims off at the Western world.
Oh man!
It's something we can't. I mean, we can keep talking about the nuke thing, but didn't he just leak information? Now that he's getting his his FBI briefings about Saudi.
So there's two theories. Nah, there's 2 possibilities. I guess they are theories, because you can't. There might be another option, but the way that I've come to look at that is there's either 2 options. One of them, he's too stupid to realize that we did close down the base, which I think closed in 2004.
Inside.
In Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So it's possible he just doesn't even know that. He just assumes that we have a base. Or he did get clearance and they did say, hey, we're operating a secret base over here, and he said it out loud. I mean, the chance that it's his mistake, his stupidity, and not him purposely, not him leaking classified information, I think is just as high as...
But just the fact that you and I that anybody is theorizing about this. Like, if it was anybody else, even if it was, Jeb would know better, having grown up in this family, but I think if any other candidate would have said this as the front runner this year, I don't think we would be speculating as to whether or not they actually did leak classified information. It's like, out of all of these idiots that were on that stage at the beginning of the year, or at the summer last year, this is an actual possibility. And we want to trust this guy with nuclear weapons, and he can't even keep his mouth shut about information. I mean, if he did actually leak info about a secret base in Saudi Arabia, couldn't that piss off other people in the Middle East? Israel's wondering why we flew over them. Sorry, we were running an errand. No, you were going to Saudi Arabia, you fuckers. And then Netanyahu gets his panties in a knot, and that's never a good thing. It's just the fact that we even have to question this about Donald Trump is frightening. And to say that we need to build up our nuclear arsenal, of which we still have nuclear warheads, and Obama has not dwindled them down. They've actually stayed stagnant from the Bush administration. And another thing, I was talking to somebody over the weekend who said that Obama has messed up our military. And what I'm trying to explain to them is our military spending has continued to go up under Obama. Obama spends more money on military than the Bush administration did, even right after 9/11. And I'm trying to explain to these people that, private companies hold these defense contracts that build our planes, our tanks, our weaponry, all that shit. And we have generals saying that we don't need these things. So instead of this money going to helping our veterans or making life better for our military men and women during service, it's going to build weapons and vehicles that we're being told by our generals that we don't need. And because of that, Obama's getting this bad rap, like he has slashed our military spending, when it's 65% of all federal dollars right off the top go to that before it goes to anything else.
Yeah, I think to be fair, he has, especially after the sequester, there have been some cutbacks. I mean, it's still, like you said, an insane amount of money. There have been a couple cutbacks that people point to, and I guess some strategic slim downs. But, I mean, to me, it was the best part of the Romney versus Obama debate.
Yeah.
When he told him, this is a battleship, we don't need
horses and muskets.
Yeah. It's like,
or bayonets and muskets.
Yeah, he's like, you can't. We don't. That's not how we judge an army anymore. Like it's the same. It's the same concept here. We've invest heavily in special forces. Our strike teams are able to go in and do amazing jobs.
Under the radar.
And just the whole, obviously our drone capability, our sea and air capability is unmatched in the world. Even though we spent billions of dollars on that plane that they still can't fly.
Right.
But, so our technology and our military is unprecedented. I mean, it's amazing. The stuff that we have, like you said, and that's part of the problem with money in politics, is the senators and congressmen are getting kickbacks from the military companies making the vehicles that they just ship to the desert and just stockpile them because the military, like you said,
And honestly, the surplus in weaponry and gear in the military is also leading to the militarization of police. I mean, they're getting our police departments and agencies across the country, they're getting these things, the body armor, armored vehicles, assault rifles, all that stuff at a very cheap price because the military can't use all of this. So, I mean, if we actually had a depleted military, you would not see a surplus in equipment and gear and weaponry and all that now our police officers are using. But I hope this stuff is. Well, Donald Trump also had some breaking news come up earlier this week about his property in Atlanta.
Yeah, the last
Atlantic City.
Yeah, the last casino bearing his name, the Trump Taj Mahal, will be closing after Labor Day. They've been striking, I think, for a month now, and they said due to strikers blocking people's path in and out of the casino, they're unable to stay in business. So, what do you know? Another Trump business is failing.
And this was supposed to be the 8th wonder of the world?
Oh yeah, of course. I think everything that has Trump's name on it it's all. When
it makes you wonder. That's for sure. It definitely makes you wonder. But so, I mean, the evidence for Trump being unfit for president and generally just an unfit human being just continues to mount.
I mean, how do you not make money in a casino? I mean, it's like.
Well, speaking of making money, what was the story about the donations and stuff that he would take?
Well, yeah, his father, on at least 2 occasions, had his lawyer go in there. The first time was a huge, I think it was $5.5 million, I want to say. He bought $5.5 million in chips, put them on the table as if he was betting, and then walked away. Basically giving it to the House, which the House just happened to be Donald Trump. They actually,
that's clever.
It is clever, and they actually had to change the law on it to say that that's illegal because, of course, I mean, what better way of money laundering? I mean, than that is there possible? That's
the plot for that Rush Hour 2 movie. Is you give counterfeit money out after everybody gives you their chips, which they bought with real money. It's a perfect money laundering scheme.
So there's the businessman that everybody wants in the office.
Yeah. So these things keep continuing to mount. I'm sure more stuff is going to come up, but we got an interview that we got to get to. So Nick, part of our AOR staff, just completed a really good interview with 2 females that are part of the LGBT community that covers a lot of different things, what's going on in the world and how they view society as a whole as well as the LGBT community and whether or not they think that progress is in sight. Go ahead and take a listen. Alice, go ahead.
Hi, this is Nick for the Age of Reason podcast. I'm here today with 2 millennials that Mike had asked me to go out and find on the college campus and bring them in and ask them some questions. So I'm sitting with Shelby. She's a freshman here at the college, and she's a criminal justice major minoring in psychology, and she is excitedly about to turn 21 years old.
7 days.
7 days, yeah. And I bet you already have big plans.
Oh, Disneyland.
Oh, awesome.
My first legal drink in Disneyland.
That's what most people think about when they think about Disneyland.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm also here with Amanda, who is currently working as a waitress, and she's 22 years old.
Correct.
But you're not turning anything in 7 days.
No.
Okay.
But I'm getting her drunk when she turns 21.
Oh, okay. All right. And as I was asking around for different varieties of people, particularly being in the town that we are located in, it just so happens that both of you 2 are LGBT?
Correct.
Okay. Are you guys a couple?
No.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, but you were a couple at one point.
Yes, 5 years.
For 5 years.
That's quite a while.
All right. Okay. So are either of you religious at all?
I'm not.
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay. Since you guys have, or when did you come out?
I was 13, the 8th grade.
I don't think that I fully came out until I was about 20
Yeah?
20 years old. Yeah.
Why so late?
I think that
Well, compared to Shelby, yeah.
I think that my family was a lot more conservative and a lot
Uh-huh.
more reserved, and you just didn't talk about that type of thing until I was out of the house.
So since coming out, have you lost any relationships or anything? Has anybody ever treated you differently, or?
I don't think I got it too bad. School was fine. I lost some friends, but I don't know if it was because of that. We just kind of grew apart.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that I have lost any relationships or anything like that. I do feel like there is sometimes when people treat you a little differently, especially the older generation. I'm talking like 50 plus, just because it's a different time and it wasn't as accepted.
Was it older people within your own family or just older people you meet?
No, because I work in a restaurant,
Uh-huh.
I meet a lot of people, and so there's a whole different demeanor from when they think I'm straight to when they know that I'm not.
Oh, okay. And what is it that you get? Do you just looks or?
There's when you meet people, you kind of get like a vibe with them, and you can joke and you can play, and I feel like when I get comfortable enough to tell some of these people who I really am and who I'm dating or who I'm seeing or whatever, sometimes the conversation gets a little shorter. Sometimes they don't walk in as excited to see me. I can't say it's happened a lot, but I have noticed it.
Okay. When you did come out, who do you felt supported you the most? Like, who made you feel like who did you come out to? Like, who's the first person you told?
First person I told was a girl I started dating, and she came out to me first, and I came out, and then after that I told my best friend, who in turn like helped me tell my mom, and then she just kind of told everyone else because she has a big mouth, which was fine. It didn't bother me. I never really had a problem with it. I was never scared. But
I think the first person I had to come out to was probably my mom. And the reason why I say I fully came out when I was 20 is because I did tell her when I was 14. And that is right before Shelby and I started dating. So she was very accepting. She kind of just told me to maybe keep it on the low until I get a little older and realize that this is really who I am. And that's probably why I kept it for so long to myself.
So you didn't really feel, even though you live in a town that's known for being pretty conservative and very religious, you didn't really feel bothered by it at all?
I didn't get much negative attention. We didn't get much negative
Not
attention.
at all. I went to youth groups growing up in high school and stuff, or before I came out. I went a lot more, and that I just didn't feel. After I came out, I didn't feel as accepted. They didn't really say anything or like push me out. The things they were talking about and preaching about, I did not agree with, and I felt like they were almost coming down on me. Like I felt targeted, and I don't think they meant to. So I just stopped going.
Okay. Okay, so are either of you registered to vote?
I am.
I just registered this year.
Okay. And did you guys vote in the primary, or?
I did.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
I did not. I just registered like a month ago.
Okay.
So.
Amanda, do you mind saying who you voted for?
I don't mind. I voted for Bernie Sanders.
And why'd you vote for him?
I just feel like his political views are similar to mine. He's a lot more accepting of who I am and what I tolerate. And I'm kind of a foreign Democrat, so who else?
Well, that's fine. So what is your major source of news? When you guys get news, who do you get it from, or where do you get it from?
I think my phone. Social media?
Social media,
Social
yeah.
media.
I do watch the news a lot with my dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, social media, you're online and you see something on Facebook, so you like look more into it.
Scroll through my Twitter feed. Yeah.
But you guys do look more into it, or do you guys take it on face value? Because an article came out just recently where they actually put a phony headline out there. I think it was something like marijuana has alien DNA. And then when you actually open the story, it says now that we've got you reading this, guess what? Most people won't read this. Most people will just share it, like it, and they won't ever take a look at it.
I definitely read into things that I see, especially things that catch my attention, like an accident or something that happened here, or a new law that's coming out. I'll definitely read into it. I don't think that
If it interests me, I'll read more into it. If it doesn't, I don't read into it, but I also don't go telling people, hey, did you hear this?
Right. Okay. So, given that you guys do read into it, what were your thoughts about the shooting in Florida at the gay nightclub?
It hit pretty hard. It's unfair that they had a safe place, or what they thought was a safe place, and something like that happened. And then us turning around and going to Pride in San Francisco that next weekend.
It was terrifying.
We were terrified, yeah.
It was terrifying.
No, why'd you still go then?
Because
why let them stop us? Why try to avoid things that make us happy and days that are set up to make us come together as, a group and see our supporters and the people that are there for us and that aren't necessarily gay, but are still there to be like, hey, do your thing, why let that stop us?
I felt if we didn't go, they basically won.
Right. Okay. Did you guys hear about George Takei, the guy that played Sulu on the original Star Trek? He's I don't want to say he's the leader of the gay movement, but he's definitely one of the most famous that is at least old world Hollywood that's gay. He came out after the shooting and he really wanted to make gun control an LGBT issue. Like he wants all LGBT people to come out and be for gun control now because of that shooting. And it seemed like even in the gay community that was really controversial.
It is.
So what do you guys think that that's a good idea, that should be a cause that's championed, or is it hard enough getting support for gay causes to begin with without having to throw that onto the pile?
Yeah, it's not going to help their cause. And me going into law enforcement, I can't really say I'm totally for gun control. I think if they were going to do that, they should have done it from the beginning. Now it's too late. Everybody has guns. You're not going to be able to take it from everyone. Mm-hmm. And the people who do give them up to you are the people that aren't going to break the law anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's pointless.
It is our right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. This has been established for many, 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 many years. I don't think that, kind of like she said, I don't think that the people that will follow this law are the people that necessarily need to follow this law. Mm-hmm. We were talking a while ago, and we decided that if we were going to rob a bank, would we walk into a bank knowing that 15 people in here are carrying a concealed weapon? Will we still rob it? Would we go through with it? So I don't necessarily know if I would support that movement.
What about just a movement to make sure that there's universal background checks for everybody?
Yeah, I think they need to tighten it up, for sure. The one who shot up in Orlando should not have been able to purchase a gun.
They had eyes on him already saying that he was a potential threat. How did he get a hold of these things?
Right.
Why are we allowing them to get a hold of these things?
So when the Democrats sat on the House floor and kind of did that sit-in to at least get a vote on the no-fly, no-buy
I agree
thing.
with that completely.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're already being investigated as a terrorist, then you shouldn't be allowed.
Why is that a question? Yeah.
Right. Just kind of common sense stuff.
I would imagine.
Okay. So in the upcoming election, it seems like there's an awful lot at stake, especially if you believe the news media, how they're hyping it up. And recently, there was a Daily Beast article, I believe it came out on Monday, and they quoted some of the delegates that are at the Republican convention they're currently voting on what the party platform is going to be, like basically what they're going to be doing going forward. And in the article, some of the delegates were quoted saying that the LGBT community is using pre-World War II Nazi propaganda tactics to further their agenda. Another thing that they said was that homosexuality kills people at a rate 3 times higher than smoking. And also that God is keeping God is keeping medicine from finding a cure for AIDS so that it can wipe out the homosexuals.
Oh my gosh.
And homosexuals who, by the way, die decades earlier than most people, have on average 500 plus partners in their lifetime. And it also came out that the GOP is planning on including a defense of the pseudoscience of gay conversion therapy. So what are your reactions to this? I mean, when here on the podcast, when we hear about this kind of stuff, we wonder, there's a group of Republicans called Log Cabin Republicans, and they're all LGBT. How could you support any party that would have people in it that would say that?
I'm kind of speechless.
Yeah, I'm at a loss
I don't
for words.
understand. It's kind of offensive because what I feel like is going on is they're kind of putting us all into this group and like being stereotypical. It is more common for a gay man to have, I don't want to say it and be offensive, but more STDs than a heterosexual man. It is more common.
Mm-hmm.
That has been proven over years of knowledge. Research. But I don't think that if I died in the next 20 years, I'd have more than 500 partners.
Mm.
And I don't think that, I don't know. It's really.
You don't think it's God punishing you for being gay?
Probably not. I don't think so.
And well, really, the gay conversion therapy, I know that means something to me because I actually had somebody that lived next door that did that. And I always wondered, just why would anyone even go through that? Like, if you were gay, why wouldn't you try and seek out the community instead of?
You're either trying to rebuild relationships that you lost through being yourself and being homosexual, and faking it almost. You're trying to go through this conversion therapy to help you become heterosexual, but you're not really that person. You're just doing it for others. I believe.
Yeah, no, not everyone has had it as easy as we do.
That's
My
for
parents
sure.
were totally fine. My grandparents, amazing, and they're older. It's just some people really have a hard time with it, and they don't want to lose people, and some parents will walk out of their kids' lives.
I've had quite a few of my friends who are homosexual, who are LGBT, lose their family, lose their moms, lose their grandparents, have to be somebody else in front of certain family members. I was really blessed to not have to do all of that.
So what do you think that is then? What like I hate to say what is homophobia, but like why does that exist?
I think it's how other people would like feel about you. So there are so many people who don't want their friends or don't want their colleagues to know that their child is gay because it would put a negative look almost on them. I don't understand it because I'm gay, but
Well, I mean, I get it because, you're out with your girlfriend and people do stare. And, when I'm with my mom, she sees people stare, and now she's associated with us, and she doesn't care. But some parents I think it's the whole idea of change. A lot of people don't like change.
We're different. We're not the majority.
It's not what they saw growing up, or...
It's almost taboo to be gay.
Not so much anymore, but yeah, it's getting better.
Oh, yeah.
But what do you think is the source of that? It's just the difference in itself. Like if everyone's wearing a black shirt, that one person is wearing a red shirt. They're
You're not
different,
gonna
so we
stare?
pick on them.
Yeah, you're not going to look at them.
You don't
Obviously.
fit in as much, really, yeah.
All of our eyes are going to drift to what's different. All of our attention is going to focus on the one thing that's not the same in the room. And more often than not, we're going to be the only gay people in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's not as common as, being heterosexual. So your attention is going to focus on what's different. And we are different.
No, that's interesting because speaking of just what's different in the room, I mean, you guys live in a town that's it's about 69, 70,000 people.
Yeah.
And how many gay people are there in your town? I mean, I don't, of course you couldn't know everybody, but is it a very large group of people that you know, or is it just a small group? Or
It's larger than you would think for being a church town.
But it's also small.
It's very close knit.
I feel like a lot of it is our age bracket, but maybe just because we don't know people outside
Younger,
of
yeah. My sister comes home. She's 16. She comes home from school telling me there's Hilmar's the next town over, and it's a lot smaller than us. She knows like 5 or 6 just at her school.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a younger sister who's 15, and she has a friend who is gay at school too. So I just feel like we know quite a few people just because we kind of latch together, and you meet one another to be able to talk about similar interests and different things like that. So I feel like it's not a huge group, but it's also not a small group of people in this town.
you would think it would be a lot smaller.
So, this is something, Mike, this is something you wanted me to ask. What questions from straight people kind of piss you off the most? Like, what is the stuff that you don't like being asked?
Can I be vulgar?
Absolutely.
Do you scissor?
That's the worst.
That is none of your business what I do.
And for the record, not accurate.
Not accurate.
Not for me.
No. They watch too much porn because that's not real life.
Okay.
I do not like being asked that question. I feel like you can ask me pretty much anything, but if your mind goes straight to, how do you scissor? Or
So people are straight up like, hi, I'm Bob, do you scissor?
They don't care. There's no limit, yeah.
I think the worst one I've had, my best friend lives out of town, and I was with her for the weekend, and we went out with some of her coworkers, and this girl, we were all talking, and this girl asked my friend if she was scared to sleep in the same room as me. If she was scared that she was going to wake up with like my hand in her pants, or like me trying to have sex with her. And I didn't even know what to say.
That.
Like,
you can have friends of the same sex who you don't find attractive. That is an irritating one.
I was standing right then. I don't think she didn't mean anything by it. She's just that person. She's just not the brightest.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just like, first thing that came to mind. Do you think she's gonna try to have sex with you? And,
it's a question.
Like.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and my friend just could not believe it. Like, I think she was more upset than I was. Really, I don't take offense to things so much anymore, just because it happens often, and like, why get mad about it?
Uh-huh.
She was really offended.
So.
Wow, that was part 1 of this interview. We'll be airing part 2 next week. It ran a little longer than Nick had anticipated, so it was a great interview. What was disturbing to me was the very end. It was a very playful interview, and these two were like in sync with each other. They didn't cut each other off. They were just on the ball with it. But the disturbing part at the end for me was when one of them was talking about staying at her friend's house, and a friend of her friend, or a coworker of her friend, asked if she had ever if she was worried about sleeping in the same bed with her because, would she try to do anything? I mean, where do you think this comes from, where, the phobia of homophobia is, for some reason, every gay person wants to rape you?
Yeah, I'm not sure where it comes from, but that's always kind of the mentality. Even, in high school, people that were more accepting would always say, I don't care if he's gay as long as he doesn't,
Yeah, as long as he doesn't hit on me.
That was always, the kind of stock, and that was, at the time, probably the most progressive answer, right? But that was the best you could get, basically.
You can be gay, just don't be gay around me.
Yeah, and, I don't know. That's just kind of, how society was. It looks, hopefully we are kind of changing, And
I think we have an opportunity to head quite a ways backwards, but I think in general society is definitely
I think
moving in the right direction.
Yeah, potentially law, definitely, but just I think the openness. It's a lot easier to be a gay person now than it was 10 years ago. Regardless of the law, I think just your acceptance into society, and that by no means do I mean that it's easy, or that you're not going to have to go through struggles or discrimination.
It's always going to exist,
but it's just on a whole, it's easier now than it probably has ever been, and that's great, and we need to continue that work and progress to make it normal, like it should be, just a normal part of life.
Well, speaking of work, you're taking off next week to go to Germany, you lucky son of a bitch. That's the highest point of my where I want to go internationally. I've always wanted to go to Germany, so you're gonna have to try warm beer, dude. You got to suck it up and just do it.
Yeah, I'm typically not a beer drinker, so I'll probably have a Das Boot or two. No, just get.
What, the movie?
Yeah, you know how they have the boot.
I thought it was a beer stein.
Oh yeah, I know, but I'm gonna go for the boot.
Wait, that's a thing?
We'll find out.
Okay, we're gonna find out if Das Boot is more than a movie in Germany next week. But also next week we will be airing part 2 of the interview that you guys just heard. Thank you, Nick, and to our guests for getting that done for us. And there'll be more to come on the interview front. The next one coming up will be an interview with 2 younger Hispanic millennials, kind of about the same thing, how they feel about society, and especially in the world that exists only for Hispanics, and how whether or not they see a bright future down the road. So with that, I'm Mike with ARR Podcast. Thanks a lot, Alex. This was fun doing this in person for the first time.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
And follow us on Twitter at AOR_podcast, the Age of Reason podcast page on Facebook, and for everything else, AORpodcast.com. Next week, it'll be Nick and I, as Alex will be on a plane on his way to Germany, and then Alex will return the following week, so we will see you guys then.
All right, guys.